I'd like to call to order the public hearing on the 2024-2025 school budget. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This evening's public hearing is on the proposed 2024-2025 school budget totaling $271,266,317, which reflects an increase of 1.00% over fiscal year 2023-2024's budget and will result in a zero change in the tax levy. Ms. Mike, you have the floor.
Good evening.
Yeah, you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Trustee, Superintendent, colleagues, I'm here to present tonight fiscal year 24-25 Mount Vernon City School District adopted budget. Thank you. Wait, yeah. No, I have one. Thank you.
%77% of New York school budgets are used to cover the... Did you see that bus go by? Oh, there goes another one. Well, these buses, like schools, are funded by a school district's budget. School budget is just a quick way to say what it costs to educate students. On average, 77% of New York school budgets are used to cover the salaries and benefits of the people who make education possible, like teachers, school aides, counselors, nurses, cleaners, mechanics, secretaries, administrators, coaches, and bus drivers. The budget also pays for the desk a student sits at, the book she reads, the classroom she learns in, the field she plays on, the device she uses for research, the test tube she studies, the music she reads, and the fuel that gets her bus home at the end of the day. So what else is in there? Well, there's also funding to meet special state and federal rules known as mandates. There are mandates about transporting students, maintaining school facilities, training staff, establishing safety practices, providing accessible classrooms, meeting learning standards, and much more. Schools must also prepare students to compete for tomorrow's jobs with more innovative technology, real-world projects, and individualized attention. Now that's a lot on the expenses side. And by law, school budgets must be balanced. Expenses anticipated for the year ahead, the money going out, must be matched by anticipated revenue, the money coming in. Most money for New York schools comes from two key sources: state funds and local property taxes. Federal aid, often in the form of grants, accounts for less than 5% of school funds. State aid is negotiated annually by the governor and the legislature, and state funds have provided about 40 to 45% of school revenue over the last 10 years. That leaves half of the pie to be filled by local property taxes. This tax levy slice is how communities fund their local schools. It's an investment that pays off with an educated workforce, more vibrant local communities, and a stronger economy. It's also a careful investment that considers the skills students need to succeed in future jobs, the cost of school programs and services, the state aid coming to public schools, and how much support local taxpayers can afford. School board members and school leaders consider all of this as they work throughout the year to manage school district finances and plan for the future. Ultimately, voters have the final say on school budgets when they head to the polls in May. To learn more before you cast your vote, check your local school district website or stop by a school board meeting. After all, the school budget directly affects your community, and gathering your input is an important part of the process.
What is a budget? A school budget describes the district plan for the upcoming fiscal year as it relates to revenues, which are inflows, and expenditures, which are outflows. The 2024-25 Mount Vernon City School District adopted budget is a spending plan that geared towards meeting and fulfilling the academic, social, and emotional and safety goals of the district. Prior to the budget preparation, there's a budget committee that is formed. It consists of members of the board President Lorna Kerwin, Sabina Kelly, Vice President, Dr. K. Veronica Smith, Acting Superintendent, Orville Gale, Trustee, Adrian Saunders, Trustee, Tom Keller, Community Member, Derek Clay, Community Member, yours truly, and Mark Ramondi, Associate Superintendent. This committee is formed to basically track spending to ensure that it aligns with the district goals. They track revenue, which is basically state aid, and it's a part of the idea sharing with the Board of Ed and the business office. They also is committed to a long-range analysis and overview of the budget process in terms of the expenditures and the revenue to ensure that the district goals are supported in the budget. Furthermore, the Budget Committee recommends financial considerations that may help accelerate achieving district goals. Budget planning. Restricted reserve used to support the current 24-25 adopted budget is zero tax levy increase. We carefully tracked spending and revenues, and also it consists of school tax collection. What are restricted reserves? They are reserves that have been strategically to supplement the revenue needed to balance the budget. Our restricted reserves are depleted as of FY25 and will need to be replenished. We also track state aid. Reduction in spending is an ongoing process. We ensure that non-essential expenditures are monitored, and we pursue additional sources of revenue in terms of grants. School tax collection has been done in-house since 2020-2021. This has helped to mitigate the shortfall in tax revenue for the year. We made an agreement with City Hall for the back taxes in arrears of $450,000 monthly, and we also have past due balance owed to us to date, $5.4 million. Restricted reserves. We basically use some reserve to balance the subsequent year's budget, 24-25. And it's outlined in the column as you see them: expected amount in reserve for June 2024, workers' comp, unemployment, retirement contribution, employee benefits, reserve for debt service old bonds. For the past 8 years, the Mount Vernon City School District has relied on reserves, which are now low, as I said before, or depleted. The focus should be on the ongoing years is to replenish these reserves. As of May 21st, 2024 budget vote, we will be owed $5.4 million from the city for school taxes before the 2020-21 school year. The district has been named highly fiscally stressed by the state. There is a potential for a $50 million capital repair bond for September of 2024. The bids were already received, and this also requires community approval. Unpaid taxes for fiscal year 2021 are $4.7 million, and 2022-23 are $5.5. Looking at the budget at a glance, budget to budget increase is 1.99%, and the 2024-2025 budget is $271,266,317. The major increases are in legal services, programs for special education, transportation, health insurance, employee benefits, facilities, and liability insurance. The major decreases are in debt service, pupil personnel services. The overall increase in terms of dollars is $5.3 million. I'm now going to give you a breakdown of the revenues. The total fund balance, restricted and unrestricted use to balance the budget is 3%. Other revenue, 5%. Property taxes, 50%. State aid, 42%. In dollars, the property taxes remains unchanged. The tax levy will be $135 million, $947,117. State aid will be $114. The total restricted fund balance used to help balance the budget, 6.9 or 7 million. Other revenue is $14 million. Total revenue, $271, $266, $317. The state mandates that we prepare a 3-part budget. The 3-part budget consists of programs, 70%, administration, 9%, capital, 21%. The 2024-2025 administration budget amount is $23 million, capital 56, program 190. The 3-part budget is basically a detailed list showing expenses a school district is proposing in the budget plan going to the voters. By law, district must provide their budgets into 3 categories. As I said before, administration, capital, and program. I'm going to give you some highlights of the 24-25 budget. We'll continue to maintain excellent teachers and staff. Comprehensive rewriting and mapping of curriculum, increased avenues for CTA certification, continuation of dual language programs, continue to support music, fine art, performing arts, and theater production, and continue to support the STEAM initiative, math and science. We continue to provide alternative pathways to college and career readiness, such as barbering, cosmetology, auto shop, and cybersecurity. No Place for Hate initiatives for K-12 schools. MTSS implementation for all K-8 schools. Support early childhood instruction. Invest in technology, new students' information system, technology software to meet the needs of students, and ensure internet safety. Focus on reading, writing through strengthening literacy initiative. The superintendent's goal is raw reading, arithmetic, and writing. That's the goal. Back to basics. The 2024-2025 budget highlights Continue to maintain and restore the services built over the past 8 years, such as nurses, counselors, clinicians. Continue to provide professional development for technology integration, academic programs, and a culturally responsible, and sustainable curriculum. Multi-tiered system of support, which is a framework designed to give targeted academic and behavioral support to struggling students. Restorative practices is a social science that studies how to improve and repair relationships between people and the communities. The purpose is to build healthy communities, increase social capital, decrease crime and antisocial behavior, and restore relationships. Also, community parent liaison, community schools, which is a school, both a place and a set of partnership between the school and other community resources. It's integrated focus on academics, health, and social services, youth, and community development, and community engagements, which leads to improved students' learning, stronger families, and healthier communities. We'll continue to invest in social and emotional learning, SEL, and mental wellness. SEL is a process through which all young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, manage emotions, and achieve personal and collective goals. They feel and show empathy for others. They will establish and maintain supportive relationships and make responsible and caring decisions. Now, you know, in a school, there are certain mandates. These are expenses that we cannot control. Charter school expense in 2024-2025 will be $13 million. Health insurance went up to 11% for active employees and retirees, which will be about $35 million. Other employee benefits, 19, and other obligation to community schools through a portion of foundation aid, 1.6. The impact of a zero to minimal tax levy increase will be 271 million budget, 266, 317, and the levy remains the same. However, we need the communities to go out and support the budget, which will be 135 million, 947, 117. Now, what happens if the budget is defeated? There can be a second vote. The Board of Education would provide direction, and the board could also adopt a contingency budget. What is a contingency budget? A contingent budget removes all furniture and equipment and all capital projects. There can be no major repair projects done through the state. This is the end of the budget presentation. Please go out on May 21st and support the budget.
Okay, I'd like to open the floor for anyone if you have any questions on the budget.
Yeah.
The administration part. The administration part. Can we see what's under the covers with this? This is a high level, right? Can we see line for line what's in this administration budget? I've seen the budget before, and I've seen the line by line before. So I'm asking, this is all high level stuff. So can we see the actual budget? Yes or no question? If we're going to vote on something, we need to see it. We need to see it. The capital budget, the capital, okay, usually in that budget, you list what schools is going to have repairs, am I right? Yes or no question? The capital, isn't that considered the schools, what's going to be done at each school?
The three-part budget consists of administration,
No.
which is programs.
Right.
Capital, which is basically, yes.
Yes, right.
Maintenance and custodian
Custodians
staff and all
and
that.
what's going to be
Yeah.
done at the school.
Yeah.
What my question is, can we see it? Can I see what the administration, who's getting raises, who's not getting raises? I want to see the complete budget. Is there a problem with that? You're giving me high level. I want to see the budget. Can I or can I not see the budget? Do you have to force that?
The budget will be available.
Okay,
Superintendent is.
the complete budget, Dr. Smith,
Okay, good evening, how are you?
how are you?
So typically, the budget that you're referring to is a working budget. If you go to any school district, they typically give you a overview of the budget. The line for line is something that Mount Vernon City School District previously incorporated. We will put out a budget that you can look at to see exactly what is what. But that working budget isn't what typically goes out to the public. That's a working budget that the budget committee works on. Generally speaking, you will get a much more comprehensive budget, and that will be put out to the public.
Okay, so with that, how can you ask us to vote on something that we don't really know? You just giving us high level. We should be able to see the budget.
So you'll be able to see the budget in terms of the categories. What's spent for it. What is required is the three-part budget. When you go to any school district, that's typically what you see. In terms of, you'll see that, for example, at any school district, $5 million is spent for administration. Just what you saw, that's what you see. And you can visit other school districts and see what they have. The working budget is usually an internal document that the committee reviews. We will put out a comprehensive budget, but what you're referencing may not be available. But we will put out a budget. The budget letter is going out to the public on the 10th, and the more comprehensive budget will go out around the same time as well.
Okay, and as far as the charter schools, I see how much you have for the charter schools. Did they pass that yet, that we have to increase? Or this is just I guess this is a projected, what you think is going to be?
They have not passed it, not yet.
Okay, they have not passed it. Okay, all right. And as far as the committee, how is the committee picked? Because I see you have some community people in this committee. How did you pick the community people? You just asked who wanted to be a part of what?
Our president is the chair of the committee, and that committee was assembled based on people's interests in the committee. I sit on the committee as the acting superintendent. We have the president and the vice president, and we have the assistant superintendent of business as well. So basically, it's based on people's interests in sitting on that committee.
Okay, did you put out who was interested?
Their interests and their background. They might have a financial background, and that's how they sit on the committee.
Okay. All right, I would like to see the complete budget.
Yeah, but Cynthia, I should take that. This is what you want.
Something
This
like
is
that.
last year's.
Something
I
like
want
that.
one for this year like you.
Okay, or you want the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Do we have any more
questions?
Okay, so maybe somebody else wanted it.
Yeah.
Do we have any more questions? Okay, all right. So, thank you once again.
Cynthia, take a look at it. It's last year.
Oh, I already had this.
Oh, you have it?
That's why I know you did something like this, I have that.
So,
Mr. Keller, we have to get ready to wrap up. So
Why?
go ahead. We have a board meeting, so.
So what? We have all night. We got a big crowd here. We're gonna have a larger crowd. We had a buyout. We had a buyout, about 40 people. Is that $5 million we're gonna save? Are there any classes that we can collapse? Are we gonna replace all these 40 with new teachers? Can the superintendent speak to that?
We did have an incentive and we're looking at classes in terms of class sizes, in terms of, students leaving the district and coming into the district. So we're in the process of doing that as we speak.
Okay. In looking at the amount of aid that a lot of communities got, I kind of compare us to Yonkers. Yonkers has about 3 times the number of students that we have, 22 versus 7 roughly. And their foundation aid went from, I think, 254 to 282. We were lucky to get ours the same, 83, 84. Are Jamal Bailey and Gary Plentlow not doing their job? I realize Plentlow has a part of Yonkers, but he has all of Mount Vernon. Jamal Bailey has 75% of the Bronx, 25% is Mount Vernon. Are we on these people to get our fair share? Seems like we lost this year. I had recommended a year or 2 ago with Ken Silver that we had to close down the Williams School. It's an old building, it costs so much to operate, it's a lousy building, there's no playground, there's nothing. Move those people to one of the Turners. And those are relatively, one's a brand new building, almost 15 years, the other one's been redone. Don't come out with closing it next year, giving people like a few months to make other plans. Why wasn't this addressed? Because Mr. Silver told me there was a committee involved to look at this. What's the result of the committee? Did they have any recommendation? Another thing related to, back a number of weeks ago, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, the Journal News had an article, and 3 out of 700 school districts in New York State were in distress. And I think we knew about it that Thursday or Friday, and it appeared like a Monday or Tuesday in the Journal News. Why didn't we get ahead of this? What about our in-house counsel? What about Ingram Smith? What about Deborah O'Canick? You should have gotten in front of this. And it should have been pointed out that the city doesn't owe us $4.7 million, they owe us about $25 million. And you people come out with a $4.7 million? Comptroller Morton must be happy to see that. 2 years go by, it's a city's responsibility for the next 2 years, and after that, they have to pay, even though they claim they don't have the money to pay.
Excuse me, Mr. Keller, do you have any questions for us? Because this is just for questions.
I'll have questions during the regular meeting.
Thank you.
Anyone else? So, thank you. Once again, I'll remind residents that the adopted $271,266,317 school budget will be voted on by the residents on Tuesday, May 21st, 2024. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. You can find a complete list of polling sites on the district website. Also on the ballot are 4 trustee seats for the school district and 1 seat on the library board. For information on voting, contact the district clerk at 914-665-5235. Please come out and vote. This concludes the public hearing.